I'm going to disobey my father today. So I was on the phone with Pastor Sir. I said, I want to record this conversation with you. I said, I'm going to disobey my father today. I called the guys. I put them on the same. I said, here's Pastor Chris. One of these special apostles, listen to this. You know them from Nigeria. Not the ones that I mentioned here. There are so many apostles. One of them from Nigeria, another one from Central Africa. They called me and said, please, we want to speak to Pastor Chris. And I know you can connect him to us. I said, no problem. No problem. So I was on the phone with Pastor Sir. I said, I want to record this conversation with you because I want the prophetic. He said, no problem. So he started prophesying about what will happen to the ministry. Most of the things have already taken place, and some have already taken place, like 2 days ago, Friday. They have already taken place now. Now hear this. He gave a plethora of prophecies. At the end of that conversation, I said, Dad, there is this apostle. It's very popular. And I'm mentioning one great apostle in Nigeria. All right? You see, with what I'm saying, someone will be like, he is referring to this one. They will even refer to people who have met Pastor Chris and said, this one is the one. That's why I don't give you names. He said, oh, he wants to meet me. What does he want? I said, no, they just want to submit to you. And he didn't say Nigeria. I just said this apostle, and I mentioned his name. He said, are they from Zimbabwe? I started laughing at him. He said, why are you laughing? I said, Pastor, do you know anyone here? He says, I just concentrate on what God called me to do. I concentrate. I don't oppose men of God. I don't fight them. I just concentrate. So I don't know who you're talking about. I thought he was from your country. Then I mentioned the other apostle who is big from Central Africa there. I believe it's Central Africa. He says, is he from Zimbabwe? If I mention the name, you'll be like, I said, nope. He said, oh, they want to be, who? My sons. Oh, let them be your sons. I laughed, and he wasn't even seeing the funny side of it. Then I explained, he started laughing. So I cut the phone. I said, I'm going to disobey my father today. I called the guys. I put them on the say. I said, here's Pastor Chris. I was recording because he told me to record I said I want to record the prophecy, but this conversation is there. You people, you would think he knows you. He doesn't know you. If you are a man of God here, stop trying to invite me to your church. I won't come. The reason is simple. Number one, I know my value, but that's not the reason. The main reason is this: you can never grow your people by inviting ministers. Listen to me now. Listen to me, because I know some of you are here. Your value, the value of your church, is never going to rise because you invited Uebert Angel to your church and people say, oh, he knows Uebert Angel, oh, he knows him. That's not what grows a church. The church will only grow by the revelation you give them as their shepherd. Sheep are dumb. Tell your neighbor, sheep are dumb. God did not call us goats. He called us sheep. The only animal that follows the shepherd will be in front. The animals are following. You put someone there on the pulpit there, right now. After I have told you, don't pray for money, a person will come here, a big bishop from America or Canada, will stand here and say, let's all stand up and pray for money. Ratakapa from that corner. Sheep will always listen and follow. They don't measure. There is a revelation that we have just received. We can't do this. This is not the way it happens. So sheep will always follow anyone who is leading in front. So be careful. A minister from outside can only come and refresh your saints. That's it. But to think you're going to develop value by inviting a preacher every Sunday, another preacher, every conference, another preacher, every conference, another preacher, nothing like that will happen. I tell you this not because he's my father. No man has the impact of Pastor Chris. Ever. No man. Not just in Africa. Around the globe. No man. The reality is in opening your eyes to the realm of the spirit. There are men who will walk with wonders. I tell you this not because he's my father. No man has the impact of Pastor Chris. Ever. No man. Not just in Africa. Around the globe. No man. If Pastor Chris calls to pray for you like this, to just pray for you, you can feel the weight of nations in one voice. When he sits with you, just sit across and just say, son, how have you been? Good. Then he starts going into the presence of the Lord. You can sense it. Most times when he comes into the environment we are in with my wife, because we will be staying, it is, and he just opens the door. There's no knock, but you can sense. She tells you. I will just be like, I think someone is by the door, and then he just walks in. You can sense something has entered before he entered. The sitting down is customary. There is a whole council of heaven sitting with you. As he begins to talk like this, just simple words, things you already know. They seem like just normal words, but it seems as if a revival is taking place in one room. A whole revival. I took my son, Cardinal Felix, there, and he was just standing there looking at him like this. He knelt down and he's talking to Cardinal Felix. How are you? And I said, please answer. Tell him you're okay, okay? I was not telling him what to say. I became an interpreter for him. I said that he is okay. Yeah, I said, hey. A revival in one location, one person, just a room like this, is sitting there in. I'm not talking about a revival on earth, in one room. You sense like you have heard 70,000 sermons in one statement you already know. He can just tell you how the Lord is merciful. That's it. Volumes that will be opened in your spirit with that statement. You will listen and go like, wow. Jesus. How can you create a vessel so yielded to you like this? And I'm telling you, not one conversation. You can ask him, not one conversation, you will start tearing up, crying. And no, not just crying like, no, like weeping. And you don't know what to do. No pretense. You can't be an offspring of that same. You are a byproduct of that action.